Hello, people, it is here. Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen is out and available. I got the early access copy right here, and we're going over it. And I just got to start this thing off with, look at the alternate cover. Are you kidding me? That looks ridiculous. Shadow of the, like, wow, it doesn't even look like a D&D book. It just looks raw as hell. And this campaign setting might just be that. So honestly, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to break down what is in this book, should you get it or not, my overall rating of this book at the end. No spoilers. There will be no spoilers in this book. I will have one section where I give an overview of like the chapter overview, the big picture, what you might want to know to be, do I want to play in this campaign? Do I want to do this adventure? Because this is an adventure book, right? And a campaign setting book all in one. So you get a bunch of bang for your buck here, apparently, with this thing in general. So I'm going to go through each of these different things here. And first of all, I mean, this is dragons, okay? It's dragons, and it's a new campaign setting, a new world. This is not Forgotten Realms or anything like that. This is an entire planet in the big picture of things. So here we go. The coolest thing, the first part of this book is just the war comes to Krynn. It goes through the whole thing about how to use this book, the gods, the good gods, evil gods, neutral gods. Super really awesome pantheon concept for how the gods work in this thing. So I'll go through that. Chapter 1 is character creation. Chapter 2 is the prelude to war, which is all the little pieces you need to know about the overview of this campaign. And then chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all go into the actual adventure. Levels 1 through 10. Each chapter you get 2 levels from, basically. I'll do the little glaze over through with that. So getting into this thing, history of Krynn. This is just, again, all the art in here, absolutely beautiful. And if you saw that little sneak peek, there's a full-blown map in the back of the book here. Super awesome. It's a perforated map. You just tear it out. The beginning of this, the coolest thing about this is they didn't do like with Spelljammer. They have a whole 3 different books and all that kind of stuff. So this might feel like a little lot, but look at this. It might be just as big as those tiny books separated all together. But they start the whole thing off with a campaign setting of getting you a taste of what this world is. It's similar. It's not like Spelljammer. You're going to go out traveling around space and whatnot. But it's very similar in that it's a high fantasy, high magic. I do have another video on the channel where I talked about Dragonlance, and apparently I got a lot of stuff in that thing wrong because honestly, the research that I did and trying to go out and find stuff, most of the things that you'd have to read are very gigantic things to have to read to be able to digest it. And this is the perfect solution to that. So honestly, depending on how well this video does, like the video, all that stuff, I can do another follow-up video where I go and dive into the lore of this and kind of give my thoughts and explanations as to what this could be. So you got the history of Krynn before the Cataclysm, and then after the Cataclysm. There's this big moment of the Cataclysm. And really side note, cool art. There is basically Tiamat in this world. It is Takesis, the Dragon Queen. Basically Tiamat, super cool 5-headed multicolored dragon. It talks about the dragon armies. It talks about the dragons, War of the Lance, all the rich, really cool history that you'd have to kind of know before as a dungeon master to go into this campaign. The different factions of Alcalon, there's a calendar, a currency. I really like this part, rumors of war. It starts the campaign off with this whole table right here where there were 10 rumors of war. And when you start the campaign off, each of the characters knows one of those rumors. Could it be true? I don't know. As a dungeon master, if I had 5 players, they'd roll on it and I'd be like, ooh, 2 of them are true. And I might roll to see which ones are true or pick the 2 coolest ones the players would never know. I just really love the overall concept of starting off a campaign with these rumors. I do this in my home games. Hey, give me 3 rumors that y'all thinking about. And they start throwing out different rumors, and I might tell them rumors. I love rumors. And then it talks about the different regions, religion and the gods, which I'm going to get into right now. There's this really awesome chart. I'm literally going to be stealing from this chart right here in my Curse of Strahd game. This chart right here is literally the gods. It is good gods. Boom. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, and then evil gods, neutral gods, all that stuff. All 3 of the different alignment spectrums, it has all of those gods, and they're really cool. They each have their different province, each have their own symbol, all that stuff. I am definitely going to be scanning through this whenever I develop my little pantheon that I'll be using in Curse of Strahd. Again, that's a whole separate little topic there. But and then each of these pages have the symbols of the gods on them, good gods, and it talks about all of them. I love seeing the symbols on these things. Neutral gods, gods of neutrality, like. I honestly, this was one of my favorite sections. It just really brought me in and got me curious about this world. I love the concept of having the balance of all 7 gods. And that is the entry to the chapter, and here's chapter 1, character creation. Just first of all, I mean, that slain dragon, like, I just can't, who wouldn't want to play in this world? The really cool thing that they do here is they know from a meta level, everyone knows what a human is, dwarf, gnomes, all that kind of stuff. But then they go through each of the races here and they describe what the Krynn, or I guess the Dragonlance version of elves are: hill dwarfs, mountain dwarfs, Qualesti high elves. Am I saying that right? Who knows? Sylvanesti high elves, Cagonesti wood elves, and it's so rich with the different places and factions and race divisions of all these different things. I really, really love it. Gnomes, humans, goes into all this kind of stuff, right? And then there's the Kinder. There we go. Halflings are basically Kinders. They're a little different. They don't seem to have big hairy feet, but I really do love what the Kinder is. And there's a whole little page here for the Kinder. You can build them like the Tasha's Cauldron of everything, and you can create your own subclass like that. But then they actually do have a stat block for a Kinder with Kinder traits and humanoid, size small, speed 30 feet. So they don't actually count as they're not 25. So that's really interesting. They're fearless, so they have advantage against fear type stuff. Kinder aptitude is the mystical origins. You gain proficiency with one of the following skills, and they get a little bonus proficiency there. The weird one to me is taunt. They have a taunt ability. And it's strange because in general, I think in the game, I'm not a big fan of the taunt mechanic unless it's like magically taunt mechanic or it makes more logistical sense, because taunting in a game like World of Warcraft, sure, it makes sense because you're like, get them over here. And mechanically, it's a video game. Okay, cool. In D&D, it's always been weird because I feel like there should be some reason why it makes sense. And that their reason is you have an extraordinary ability to fluster creatures. It always feels like the weird bardish type thing, I guess. And then they magically force them to attack you. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's a Kinder thing. But it's just, for me, that's a little weird to be a Kinder thing. So I might switch that up a little bit, but who knows? It's not too bad. And the Kinder look pretty cool. So this is all still chapter 1. They have the other cool thing they do is the different factions of the world, or I guess organization. You have the Knights of Solamnia. You have the Mages of the High Sorcery. And then with these two big, you have like the Marshals and the Casters, right? These two big factions. They have a full section of backgrounds for the faction with bonus feats. It was really cool. If I'm reading this correctly, whenever you play a character in Dragonlance, you get a bonus feat at first level. You either get skilled or tough. That's kind of cool. Maybe it's such a hard campaign setting, you need more help in it. That's kind of an interesting way to approach it. And then at 4th level, you get a bonus feat. So at first level, you get a bonus feat. Okay, cool. And then normally you don't get a feat at first level, so that's nice. But then at 4th level, you normally could get a feat. But now I guess you could pick an ability score improvement and get a bonus feat, or get 2 feats at level 4. That's kind of exciting. And it's cool that they wanted to do that in this book with this setting, to have that be the way, maybe a cool little tweak that you made to a campaign setting or to an adventure. And maybe like this adventure is really hard. Bonus 1st level feat, bonus 4th level feat. In general, I thought that was a cool thing. If I'm understanding this correctly, I think I am. But they do have a limited options of which 4th level feats you can get as a bonus feat. And a lot of them are actually in this book. And they are tied into the world lore, which made me have a thought of having a campaign setting and giving my players an option for, all right, 1st level, you get a bonus feat. Here's your options. And give them like 5 options, and that each of those features tie into the world more. Maybe you're from a certain faction, or maybe you have a certain disposition towards this, or you know how to navigate this type of land that's in the campaign. So it's really cool thing that I've unlocked in my head here just reading this, of having feats be able to tie them into the game, because these 4th level feats, adept of the black robes, red robes, white robes, like a lot of these things are baked into the lore and history of the world. Really thought it was cool. And then it goes through all the feats, and some of the feats are pretty strong, like using your hit dice and pouring it into your spells and stuff. Really cool. And then this might be just one of the coolest art pieces, Prelude to War. And this is now chapter 2. They're going into the overview of what this whole thing is. So right here, I am doing a small disclaimer while I have my hand held up like this, just in case, so you know whenever it's over. I'm going to talk about the chapter 2, chapter 3, all the way through chapter 7, like the different overview thing. No spoilers, really. It's just what this says as the little bitty excerpt list here of what you can kind of expect. It's just so as a dungeon master, you can be like, that sounds interesting. Or as a player, be like, oh, that sounds cool. And you can tell your dungeon master, hey, check this book out, look into it, right? So The chapter 2 is Prelude to War. Before arriving to Vulgar, the characters encounter strange magic, a divine vision, and something worse. See, very vague. Chapter 3, for second to third level characters visit the village of Vulgar and protect its people from an invasion. Cool. Again, you see how this is not really spoilers? It's just kind of like, okay, this is the themes, it's what's going on. I love it. Chapter 4 is levels 4 to 5, allying with the forces of Kalaman, and the characters face off against the dragon army. That's so cool. Yes, give me more. Chapter 5 is 6th to 7th level. The characters follow agents of the dragon army into a deadly wasteland in search of magical ruin. Oh, it's getting, now we're leveling up now. We're getting a little higher there. Chapter 6 is for 8th and 9th level characters. Dragon army commanders seek to reawaken the city of lost names as a flying war machine. The characters must navigate the occupied ruins to try and prevent this. Oh, let's go. Let's go. And the last chapter is the Siege of Kalaman for 10th level characters. Armed with the flying citadel, the dragon army besieges Kalaman. The characters must protect the city and destroy the deadly magical weapon. Boom! Boom! Wow, that's really freaking cool. And then again, as I read through this before making the video, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. As I looked into Dragonlance back in the beginning, I was like, man, I would totally run a campaign in this. Holding the book in my hands, talking to y'all about it live right now, wow, I really, really do think this is pretty freaking cool. And then it starts to go into Dragon Queen's threat, and it has a whole list, a big giant table here of how to pronounce things that I've probably pronounced things wrong as I'm talking about this. But then it just, chapter 2 is just purely going, I gotta show this picture, the Draconians. It's a new dragon type of character. They are super cool, and they have an entire, also, I guess, as another trifecta for this book, there's a whole section in the back with monsters and everything that you can actually use these monsters to put them into the camp. So this is a lot to it. It's one book with a campaign setting, granted, very light, very simple campaign setting, with a full adventure and monsters to boot at the back. There's a death dragon in there, and then now we have When Home Burns, and we're gonna leave off right there. I'm not gonna go into that because now we just go into the whole freaking adventure. This thing is, how many pages we got here? 224 pages, and man, oh man, is it pretty cool. There's story arc concepts in the back. You have different roll tables in the back, and then now this, that's pretty cool. Another little I don't want to say the person's name because I think that might be a named NPC, but then here's some of the Draconians. More Draconian characters here, right? Really cool character, really cool class. Love it. So overall, I would say it's hard to rank these things, and I try and rank it based off of like my excitement or hype towards it. And honestly, I probably have these videos slanted more towards higher numbers, because if it doesn't excite me, I probably don't make a video for it. Like the Radiant Citadel, I didn't even make a video on that one. Maybe I should, because it would be consistent, but honestly, these videos don't really do that well in general, so I hesitate to do them. If this video somehow happens to do well, comment below, like, share, all that kind of stuff. Then I will do a follow up on Dragonlance, and I will do a full prepared version of the lore and the gods and the setting and the history and all this kind of stuff, if you're interested in that. If you are interested in the book, you can just pick up the book. There is a link in the description for the book that you can go buy, an affiliate link that I appreciate if you use. And if you want to help support what I do here at the next level and through all the things that I do, check out the link on Patreon. I have a ton of things coming to Patreon. I have an entire Dungeon Master binder that I'm going to be releasing to my patrons. I have full PDFs. We make 2 PDFs every single month that we've always done, that the patrons get for the cheapest prices possible. And lots more to come. Entire class revamps. Entire class revamps of Bard, Rogue, Ranger. Those 3 are coming up. And as one D&D releases, I'm going to be releasing the different stuff that I have as far as the homebrew spin that I'm putting on things to try and polish them off for you guys, because we keep trying to stay creative and think outside the box. Peace.